My name is Megan Hamilton. This body of work is called Didi, Conversations on Nepali Womanhood. It's a collaborative body of work. I took the photographs that are in black and white, and the color images were taken by residents of a women's safe house called the Princess Home. Together we worked to take photographs of what women's situation in Nepal is. I went there to address the issue of sexual trafficking, which is a huge problem in Nepal. About 10,000 Nepali women and girls are trafficked into India every year. So what this body of work really starts to do is it really starts to question how we can be effective in an issue like this, or how we can be effective in women's lives in Nepal at all as foreigners. What I know for sure is that change won't happen there until change happens through the women who are there. And the women of Princess Home were bold, courageous, powerful women, and it's women like them who will be able to begin to affect change in Nepal. The women at Princess Home were being trained in things like jewelry making and tailoring, and these were things that were supposed to provide them with a skill that would ultimately help them be sustainable. So in this photograph you see one of the women, her name was Susma, making jewelry, and they would use their toes and their feet and everything else to wrap the jewelry around while they worked and talked. In this photograph, these bags in this photograph are filled with dirt. There was a woman who worked beside the hotel that we stayed at, and every day when we were walking past, she was filling these bags with dirt from inside this empty abandoned building, and this was her job. This was one of the only jobs available to women, and she was responsible for loading up the bags and then transporting them to wherever it was they got dropped off. This is Susma. Susma helped train the women in tailoring. They all took turns dressing up in this outfit. It was a traditional Nepali outfit, and I thought it was really interesting just to see them all photograph themselves in this thing that they just felt incredibly beautiful in. This photograph was taken at a town on the border between Nepal and India, and it was taken near dawn. And this woman was just making her way to the train station along the tracks in the morning. The girl in this photograph, her name is Hosanna, and she is the daughter of one of the women who lives at Princess Home. Her mother only sees her on Saturdays. I never knew why that was, but she wanted to have a photograph of her daughter, and so she took this picture. This is Princess Home. I had asked the women to take photographs of home, and I thought it was really interesting to see the differences in how they all photographed home. This is one of those photographs. Susma took this picture. I love the shoes outside the door. This is Rachel, and this is how she photographed home. I really thought it was interesting that she put herself in this picture. Deborah took this photograph. To show home, she photographed the room where a number of the women sleep. Celeste took this picture, and to show home, she took pictures of the decorations that were up for somebody's birthday. This is a picture of the house that Princess Home was attached to. The family who ran Princess Home lived in this house. It was a husband and wife, and they had 5 children. This is my portrayal of Princess Home. I think when I saw their photographs of home and the way I photographed it, I was really shocked by how different mine looked. And mine looks a little more stark, a little more lonely. Maya was one of the residents of Princess Home who was most excited about having a camera and taking pictures with it. She took this picture from the roof of the big house that Princess Home was attached to. This is Pyle, and Pyle was photographing something that was important to her, and she photographed a water well. To have a well in your yard, to have clean water at all, was an extremely valuable thing for these women. This photograph was taken in a women's prison in Chitwan. Often when women come to prison, if their children have nowhere else to go, their children come with them. So this photograph shows their water pump inside the well with the laundry and other things scattered around it. This is a photograph of my view of Kathmandu from the roof of my hotel. Off in the distance you can see one of the big temples there, and it gives you an idea of what the city looked like. To show herself doing something that made her feel strong, Benita took a picture of herself preaching in Kathmandu, and this woman was offering prayers and blessings to this god. Religion in Nepal was something I struggled with quite a bit while I was there, just in terms of struggling to understand. But to them, they found great peace in worshiping both things that were good and both things that were bad. These candles were lit on the steps of one of the other temples in Kathmandu. It's a temple called Monkey Temple, and it's on top of a hill, and the steps all the way to the top were lit with candles. I'm not sure if they were prayers or what they stood for, but I thought they were beautiful in the night. This is Maya. She was very creative with her camera. She took a self-portrait of herself with the flowers and the gardening at Princess Home. Susma took this photograph at sunset. This is, again, inside the walls of Princess Home. Orange carnations were a sign of blessing, and they were sprinkled on people's heads and sprinkled around altars all over the place. This necklace of orange carnations was placed on the wall of an empty courtyard. This is Maya again. She was playing with shadows and light with her camera. Maya took this photograph of Princess House. This is a shadow of the big house from the roof above. This woman sat alone on the side of the street. I'm not sure if she was waiting for something, but she sat there for quite a long time. Susma photographed what was most important to her by showing herself with some of the other residents of Princess Home. This was taken at the train station on the border between Nepal and India. People were trying to get on the train. The border we went to the border essentially because that's where the act of trafficking takes place. I'm not sure if women get trafficked across the border on trains. I'm not sure if women were being trafficked into India that day. But it was interesting to see the difference between a town on the border and a place like Kathmandu. This is Deborah. She dressed up in a sari that one of the women owned. This was another outfit that they all felt really beautiful in and took turns dressing up in and photographing themselves in.